I want to show something to not only yourself, Larry, and I don't know if you had a chance to see it at all, but also the audience. And I tweeted this out earlier today. So this is the 2023 defense versus the 2021 defense, the first 8 games. So
Okay.
D'Amico Ryan's defense, his first 8 games versus Wilks, his first 8 games. And a lot of people are making a big deal about the rushing yards, which, yes, the last few weeks it hasn't been great. But through 8 games, Wilks' defense is giving up 86 rushing yards per game, 17 and a half points per game, and the 49ers record is 5-3.
Right.
D'Amico Ryan's defense through his first 8 games was giving up 132 yards per game, 25.25 points a game, and their record was 3-5. And I didn't make this graphic to crap on D'Amico. D'Amico's a fantastic coach. Really, I made it to say it's not as bad as what we think it is. And it's been this way before, and the 49ers have been able to turn it around. So why couldn't they do it this year? And I also want to add that D'Amico Ryan's defense in their 8th game was against the Arizona Cardinals, Colt McCoy's Arizona Cardinals, and they gave up 31 points and 163 rushing yards. So it's
Well,
not like
not only that, I was at that game. Is
yeah,
that's the game where that Colt McCoy completed 85% of his passes, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. That's which is a ridiculous number.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, obviously Burrow and Cousins have basically done that the last 2 weeks too, combined. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I will say this. I mean, just sitting there in the stadium last week, watching the Bengals spread the Niners defense out and then run at will and basically do anything they wanted. There was no resistance at all. None. I mean, they were down 14-10 and a half. It should have been 24-10, easy. They did not stop anybody. The coverage was soft. The run defense was weak. I mean, it was bad. It was just bad in every phase. So I got no problem with them doing something because something is better than nothing. I just don't know if it's going to work. I think, and I asked Shanahan, I said, because he said, hey, my team looks old or not old. They look tired and slow. And, then they get the bye week. So the bye week, everybody looks fresher. But then I'm like, hey, how are you going to inject speed? And he's like, you got any ideas? And I said Danny Gray, but if I had really thought he was going to ask me that question, I probably would have given him a longer answer, which was Danny Gray, Samuel Womack, Darrell Luter, Jalen Graham, Robert Beal, Ronnie Bell. I mean, I probably would have, JP Mason. I think the 49ers have a number of guys that they could put on the field that would be a little bit more dynamic than some of the players they have. And the one that bothers me the most is Jalen Graham. Now, I know I'm alone in this, but I watched Jalen Graham for 2 years at Purdue. The guy made a ton of tackles. And then I watched him in the preseason. Sure enough, he did the exact same thing. Now here we are in the regular season. You're given how many more weeks you got to watch running backs run for 5 yards a carry before you're going to put a guy on the field like Graham, who's super fast, is like a magnet to the football, and breaks down consistently. It's like they got this pecking order with Flanagan Fowles and Burks in front of Graham, and I get it to some degree, but I mean, you're getting gashed in the run game, and you're telling me that a fast, instinctive linebacker who made tons of plays in the preseason, and he's not an accident. I watched him at Purdue the last couple of years do exactly the same thing. This guy can't even get active. You can't even activate this guy, and you're giving up 5.4 a carry to the Bengals and their 32nd rush rated run offense coming in. So I don't know. I mean, we're going to see how this looks going forward, but they got to stop the run. If they don't stop the run, the rest of this is just window dressing.
You're not the only one that is big on Jalen Graham. That was my one. That was probably the biggest takeaway I had when I left training camp was
How good he
Jalen
was.
Graham is a guy. I mean, he's a good player, and I hoped that he would make the active roster and be playing weekly at the very least on special teams. He not only that, Larry, if you remember, they would do one-on-one drills before, like in between. They would do warm-ups, then they would do one-on-one drills, then they would start the actual practice. Well, when they would do one-on-one drills, I charted it. through like the whole week that I was there, the defensive player won a total of like 4 reps out of 60 or something like that when it came to the passing one-on-one drills. So whether that was DB on wide receiver, whether that was safety or linebacker on either use check, the running backs or the tight ends, it didn't matter. It was like 4 out of 69 reps went to the defense. 3 of those were him. So that's how good he was during the one-on-one drill. So not only is he a good tackler and is he all over the place, but he's actually showed that he can be maybe an asset in coverage as well. I'm very excited about the future with him, and the 49ers do a great job of redshirting players every year, it seems. Maybe he'll be that guy for next year, but why not? Why not give him a shot? Because I think he could make a difference. He could inject some life into this run defense potentially.
Well, and to me, there's no doubt he's better than Burks and Flanagan Fowles. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if I asked Steve, he'd tell me he's not ready. But my next question would be, why is he not ready? Tell me what he needs to do to get ready. I'd like to know because personally, I see a player who's very instinctive, very fast. I watched him at Purdue. The guy made nothing but plays. I mean, 38 games, 35 starts in his 4 years at Purdue, 169 tackles, 16 passes defense, 12 tackles for loss, 3 picks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 sacks. I mean, he was all over the place. And then in the preseason, he was running to the ball all the time. I mean, that's what they need more than anything against the run is they got to get more hats on the running back. They got to get more bodies around. They got to swarm to the ball. I asked Bosa this week. I said, how are you going to defend this team with a quarterback that gets the ball out in 2.4? You're probably not going to get sacks. He's like, first we got to do is we got to shut down the run. We got to stuff the screens. We got to take away the RPOs and the quick game, force the quarterback to play from the pocket, and then we can tee off and go after him. Well, look at all the things that you have to do before you can hunt the quarterback. So, I mean, it's like, that's the thing. It's like, you telling me that you don't need Jalen Burks or Jalen Graham when you're looking at a team that is every runner against you the last few weeks has lit you up. So I don't know. I mean, on paper, Etienne is 3.9 a carry, so it's not like he's awesome, yards, on every carry. But I mean, he's got speed and he can definitely make big plays. He had a 56-yard touchdown reception in the Steeler game 2 weeks ago. So he's a burner. He's got great speed and he gets to the outside. So we'll see. Greenlaw said he took a shot last week before the Bengal game for both his shoulder and his ankle. And then he got like 10 minutes, 15 minutes into the game, and he realized that the shot had no effect. And so he probably said he shouldn't have been out there. Shanahan said today, I don't know, he probably shouldn't have played. Well, now Dre says that he's freshened up from a week off and that the shoulder and ankle are feeling a little bit better. And we'll see how effective he can be. They need him because he's like a huge part of their run defense.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Matt says now he is on the sidelines, so the O will score more points. I think that's the point, is that yes, the defense the last 3 weeks has fallen off a bit, certainly. But the offense has also fallen off. The whole team, just everybody at once was like, you know what? Let's just take a dump and lose these next 3 games, because neither side of the ball was really doing great things, including special teams. Let's not forget that Moody had a missed kick at the end of a game. So everything just kind of fell off at once. So they've got to get it together. They got to regroup during the bye week. They got to look internally because there's a lot going on, and it's not just Steve Wilks in the defense.